everybody. Debbie Cowan here, and I've got my new dear friend, Ricardo Zelaya.
That's right.
Did I do it right?
You did it right.
Holy smokes, that was only about the 5th time I tried. But okay.
Well, I've heard worse.
Yeah. So thanks. And he, Ricardo, if you don't know, is from Gold Street Realty
right.
Here in town. One of the new brokerages, probably about a year now. Year and a half?
I think there's just surpassed 2 years.
Oh,
I've been there.
Oh my gosh.
I've been there. This will close out a year. Start January 1st is when I.
Okay, because I remember when. Gosh, has it been 2 years?
Yeah, from my understanding, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I remember when Freddie and Kyle were like driving in some new agents and stuff like that, but doing all their wonderful social media.
When they were in diapers, that's what I thought you were going to say.
I did not know them then, and I would never admit if I did. So, but so one of the things that we like to do on this video is just kind of let the community know a little bit about you. You know, it's all about you, even though that sign up there says it's all about me.
Right.
It's all about you today.
Okay.
And
that's cool.
So I like to kind of spotlight and highlight our agents and ones that I personally would like to get to know better, as well as just kind of, I'm a firm believer in the community and that aspect. And, I love that we live in a small enough town where we can extend out things for our referral partners and things like that, and that people will find something in common with you that maybe they didn't know. And all of a sudden, next time they're thinking about buying a house or selling a house, they're going to say, "Oh, I remember that guy." Yeah.
Sure.
So can I talk? Can I ask you a couple of questions?
You can. Nothing's off the table.
Okay.
Go for it.
So I know you said you just hit your year mark with Gold Street.
That's right.
Okay. And so before that, tell me, what were you doing?
So before
just real estate right now.
Right.
I'm gonna get into the other stuff later.
So before Gold Street, I was with an agency called Gold Street. That's what I'm at. Grand Real Estate.
Okay.
And oftentimes it would be read as like Grande. It was spelled because it's spelled Grande. Grand or big in Spanish.
Yeah. That I learned in school. I do know that.
There
Yeah.
You go,
Okay.
there you go. And so I was there since let me think here, May of 2021.
Okay.
Up until through 2022.
Okay.
I was with that brokerage.
Okay.
And the unique thing about that brokerage was they were a builder partner.
Okay.
However, not exclusive to that builder.
Okay.
So that was a really
So tell me how that works.
Yeah. So ultimately, the brokerage had agents like myself.
Okay.
In different markets.
Okay.
Ocala was the newest market for that brokerage.
Did you open it for the?
I started Ocala.
Okay,
I started Ocala.
Got it.
And so what would happen is I would sit at a model center, sales center,
right?
And of course, traffic be driven into that
right.
sales center. And the objective, of course, was to sell the builder. But the beautiful part is, if for a number of reasons, a lead came into that model center and maybe didn't quite qualify, or didn't love the locations of where the spec homes were built, or whatever the story was, we had an opportunity to convert them.
That's
Close up the model center for a minute, take them to.
That is so different than agents sitting in models.
And so at the time I was a fresh agent, so I didn't know. I'm just, maybe this is how it is.
Yeah.
I mean, the more I would have conversations with others in the industry, they're like, "That is incredible! Like, we've never heard of that."
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah, I've never heard of it either. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was really great. And that led to a pretty decent 2022 as a new agent, and so I'm grateful for that.
So, I mean, now that you've kind of been out of the new build, and now you're more into the resale, right? Are you still doing a lot of new builds?
I'm still doing a lot of new builds.
Okay. So you have a lot of experience in that.
Yes, and I've put myself in positions to just sit and learn, and so I would like some of the GCs and superintendents with that builder. I go to job sites and like literally ask all the questions.
That's fantastic.
I'm not handy by any means.
Right.
But I pretend I do by going to these job sites.
Well, but you also, it's a great opportunity when you're trying to sell that home or whatever. You've got some information behind the scenes. I mean, there's a lot of builders out there that, some of them do a great job, some of them maybe don't. Right. And when you're talking to a client and you're trying to help them make that decision whether or not that's the best house for them or whatever, knowing the quality, backing, and all the stuff behind the scenes is, to me, that would be extraordinary for my agent to know that, especially if they're not just selling for that particular builder.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, so now that you're doing, both resale and new builds, what do you like better? Have you?
I like to lean towards new builds.
Okay.
Because, of course, as you know, just what could be all the issues that would come in with older homes, resales. but not to say there's no issues with new builds. We know
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
But I'd say I'd like that just because, again, it's in the mindset of the buyer,
Yeah.
the consumer at this point. It's like a new home, and so there's just a certain level of excitement.
Yep.
Beyond it.
Well,
like a
let me tell you the
resale
right
home.
answer to
Yeah,
that
yeah.
for you. So next time somebody
Yeah,
asks you
come
that
on.
question,
Yeah.
it's because we have no inventory. And in real estate, man, that's the best place to be because, I mean, these builders are building all over the place,
Right.
and it gives our people, the influx of people coming into the area, someplace to, go. And we were talking about the one builder you were working with, and then their price point is a really good sweet spot for, new buyers, first-time buyers, things like that.
That's right.
So, I mean, and that's the one thing that we're lacking so much here in Marion County,
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
really because of the affordability issues that we have with the rates being up. Even though they've been quite a bit lower this week, and praise the Lord, I am so excited about that because, it's been a breath of fresh air just to go, guess what?
Right.
Good news.
Yep.
Yep. So, but I mean, I think when I'm thinking about new builds, because I've actually devoted so much of my time, probably in the last year, to going back to, I used to do nothing but new builds, new construction.
Yeah.
That was a big part of my business. But, and I got out of it because, we didn't have a lot of new construction going on in Ocala. Very limited, certain builders, but very limited. And then when we lost all the inventory during COVID and all those things started happening, it like struck a chord, and it was like, I need to change my model a little bit and go and maybe not just do purchase resales, but really get out there and meet these builders and try to, go over and let them know what we do and how we do it so that we can be, partnering hopefully. And so that's been real successful for me too. I mean, the whole new build for this year. So, all right.
Yeah,
so
that's
so now you know the right answer.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yes.
Inventory.
Right. Inventory.
No,
Yes.
yeah. But I mean, it is also fun too when they're getting in there and they're going, oh my gosh, got my brand new house. I mean, I
Right.
just had a closing today.
Yeah,
That was a new build.
congratulations.
Thank you. And it was I think I posted on Facebook. It's always like they're just always smiling. They're always happy. I mean, everything is brand spanking new. They don't have to worry about anything, and it's just, especially to get them in before Christmas.
Exactly.
I'm so
I was
excited.
just going to say the timing of it is beautiful.
I know.
That's
I mean, it's
what
like,
a gift.
It's like, that's what I say.
Yeah, what a
Instead of
gift.
happy closing, I go
Yeah.
Merry Christmas. Because
That's
they
right.
got in. But
That's right.
yeah, so I enjoy that too.
Love
So, but I know that you haven't been in real estate for more than what, 2 years or two
Yeah.
and a
So
half years.
March of 2021 is when I got licensed, and then
So you're going into your third.
Yeah, I'm going into my third. So yeah, March of 2021, I got licensed, dabbled in it
Right.
for the first few months, and then
As does everyone.
yeah, and then Step of Faith, May of that year, I left a full-time job and stepped into it.
And what were you doing before that?
All right, so there's so
I know you have a little bit of a step.
yes. So before that, the major career, if you would, I was in ministry, full-time vocational ministry.
Yep.
Served at a local church in town as one of their pastoral team members, and 6.5 years.
Wow.
6.5 years.
What now? Were
Yeah.
you the children's?
So the last year and a half, yes.
Okay.
I was specifically the children's
Yep.
pastor and overseeing kind of the programming,
Yep.
for the ministry.
Yeah.
And then before that role, I was what the church would call like the guest experience pastor,
Okay. Yep.
overseeing first-time guests and the
Yep.
process, getting them connected.
Yep.
How can they volunteer their time, join small groups, things like that.
Yeah.
And so that was.
And I know the church because I'm a member, but I know that they're very, very good at getting people to get involved in a lot of
Right.
different things.
Yep. Yep.
So I think that's an amazing story, actually. And I also, I'll let you tell your story, but
Sure.
I can't imagine that doesn't have some bearing and benefit to you doing what you're doing now.
Oh, it absolutely does.
And
Absolutely does.
what would you say are the benefits?
So the big thing, and I'll get into, and I alluded to this a little while ago, or last week when we met
Yep.
formally. But the big thing is working at the size of church that it is, and how long I've been there.
Right.
The amount of relationships I've been able to form, it's just incredible. And so when I made that move, a lot. I mean, quite honestly, if I put a percentage to it, probably about 80% of my deals these last few years have been from my connection to ministry.
Fantastic. Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
so you had a resource that was a blessing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now I know the term. It's the
Yep.
sphere of influence.
Yeah,
Obviously
yeah.
going in, I didn't know it.
Right.
That,
Yeah.
But now I know the lingo, right? And so huge sphere of influence.
But what about how you approach the clientele?
Right. So in any interaction, and this is a personal like value and mission of mine and my wife's.
Right.
Is in any interaction, any experience, we're going to create positively memorable and personal experiences and relationships.
Yep.
Period.
So how do you do that
Regardless.
with someone that you just met?
It's recognizing that it's beyond, for me, it's beyond the transaction. It's always going to be that
Yep.
way. And so that's what I have in mind.
Okay.
And I often like to say, if I'm not able, my wife and I include her in this, if we're not able to share a meal with said client post-closing, post-close of transaction, if either we don't want to or they don't want to, then I didn't do a good job.
I love that. Yeah.
Like that's an internal metric.
Yep.
You know,
So
for us.
so yeah,
You know.
I've said it in my terms over the years. When I'm talking to a client, when we always have this first meeting as well, but you do have a connection. People know real.
Right.
I felt that when I met you the first time. But people connect to that, I think, more than anything. But I used to always say, I want to be your lender for life. I don't want to be just
That's right.
now today. So you can come in here, you can look me in the eye, you can talk to me, you can come in and ask a question, you can do anything you want to do because I'm here.
That's
So
right.
I want to I want to help your kids. I want to help your grandkids. Whatever I can do.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
I love that when we have these contacts that out of the blue. I get them especially right around the holidays, of course. But just calling and just saying, hey. Just was thinking about you. We've been in our house now 3 years, and we couldn't love it more, or whatever. In fact, I was at a closing on Tuesday, and she'll know who I'm talking about. But she was like, "I'm going to make you some keto lasagna. It's the best keto lasagna you ever have." So I said, "Okay, I'm going to hold you to it." But no, and that's what I say. I like the aspect. Because there are some agents out there that is a transactional deal.
Sure.
And, sometimes, and people know that. I mean, I've had issues in the past where maybe someone had an agent that never showed up, they didn't have to do anything. They sent them listings and they went and looked at the house by themselves. They never met them. They didn't come to the closing. And, so it's not a job, it's a career, right? It's your future. And what you put into it is what you get out of it.
That's right.
And so that personal connection, and I wanted to bring that up about your past, because it's really not your past, it's who you are, right? And so I think a lot of people who might be listening to this, they know from a spiritual standpoint that, you might be a great connection for them because of how you feel about that transaction. I hate to call it that, but that's what it is.
Sure,
It's what
absolutely.
it is.
Yeah.
So and 80% of your clientele, I mean, that is huge because that is, people getting into this business new, they don't have that resource. So, that sphere of influence,
Sure.
they go after it all and they hit it in about, 5 months. And then it's like, what do I do now? So that's very complimentary to you that they trusted you to do that.
Sure. And one thing, and you may ask this or not, but I shared with you last week, is there was a moment though, like through this transition, if you would, where I couldn't quite fully grasp the missional part, if you would, to real estate.
Right.
And so I like to say this. I don't know if you're a sports fan at all.
I am. The Bucks.
But
I don't know. Do y'all know that? Yeah, you know it.
There you go. There you go. I love that.
Yeah.
So I like to say, like, Michael Jordan, right?
Yep.
It's a debate
Right,
now, but
right.
greatest basketball player of all time.
Right.
He retired in his prime, right? To
Yep.
play baseball, whatever. I felt like that. So in 2022, I almost stepped away right in the middle of my quote unquote prime.
Right.
Because I was struggling with that transition though, from vocational to this.
Right.
And I'm so grateful. A great friend of mine invited me to a conference in Texas.
Yep. I think I met him too, right?
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Invited me to this conference in Texas, real estate conference,
Right.
by the way. And I'm listening to all the keynote speakers, all the communicators. And they get on stage and they present themselves, all the successes, the numbers, and so forth. But they always would communicate why. And then there was so much tied into their love for. So their love for God, they're people of faith. Everyone stepped foot on that stage,
Right.
and how they tied that into their business and into their serving the community.
And that
clicked. That
right
clicked.
there, right there.
I'm
You
like,
just gave me
what?
goosebumps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly what we do. And if you can't sustain in this business if you're not doing that, and that's why I talk about community because I mean,
Absolutely.
we just met. But I connected, and I wanted to share this with you because I believe in also giving what I can, to my friends and partners out there.
Sure.
So I think that's a great story for you, and you probably don't need my advice, but I would definitely.
I welcome it, please.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
yes, yes,
definitely use that because that's who you are versus what you did,
Sure.
and I think that's very powerful. Especially in our people buy because they like you, they care, and they know if you care. So.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge resource for you, and I would use it and let people know. But yeah, okay. So let's let's go off to another subject, social media. So I'm sitting here being surrounded by video people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me
Yeah.
how do you think that plays into what we do, and why do you do it? Because you're very good at it.
So I thank you for that. So why do I do it? It's the whole idea of people seeing you everywhere. The statement of "I see you everywhere." And there are a few instances more recently where someone would come up to me and I don't quite know
of course,
who they are.
yeah.
And then, but
when I wear my name tag everywhere, and they go,
"Oh, you're,"
and I go, and I go, oh, and I had one yesterday. Hi, you closed my refinance last year,
right.
and I never met her face to face, so I was just like, oh.
And they see you everywhere. So that's part of it. Recognizing that has so much value when people see you everywhere and you stay top of mind. And then for a little while, and I'm thankful my brother's here, and so he encouraged me with this because I resisted it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
And what he kind of helped me recognize is you have a strength there, and you would be doing a disservice. All back to service. You're doing a disservice if folks don't maybe see what you have to share, what you have to offer, and encouragement and things of that nature. And then the reality is, in today's society, that's where the people are.
Right.
The people are utilizing social media and all platforms.
Yeah. So it's the best marketing tool that's out there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to sum it all up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's exactly why. And that was one of the things that really drew me to Gold Street when I first met with the guys over there. Yeah. And just because their platform was very unique, right? And you could tell it was unique, and that I said, okay, who are these guys? And you could tell there was the new kids on the block, and they were coming into town big time.
That's what drew me too. By
Yeah, and who wouldn't? I mean, it was slick, it was sharp, it was very cool. I was very jealous, and that's when I got involved with Gabby and said, okay, we're doing something. No, but yeah, they had a nice mark on that piece of the market, and I thought it's going to draw in number one, younger agents, and I think that's not a bad thing because you guys are the future of the business, really. But I think I was told when I started with Prime Lending, which I'm going on my 6th year, I came from St. Pete, so I had no really business partners or anything like that.
Sure.
And I was like, how am I going to reinvent myself? How am I going to do this? And the girl said, I went to a top producer because that's who I always go to, right? And find out how they do it. Yeah. And she goes, girl, you got to get on social media. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. Right. And I don't care what someone had for dinner or lunch last night, but you know what? I don't, that's not my thing. And now I think I'm known for it now out there in the community. I mean, they're like, you are always on, and I said, but it's a job for me now because the consistency is everything with that, right? So you have to do, and I mean, it's like I'll go home late and I'll go, oh man, I forgot to do something today. I forgot to post something. I forgot to do this because it's in my head now. It's habit now. So my marketing guy that works for the company for Prime Lending, Jonathan, shout out. He uses me as an example when he's giving marketing events and stuff and talk. And these are people that are strangers, and he'll never live it down. But he'll literally say, hey, I have Debbie Cowan in the audience today, and let me tell you about how she resisted so much of doing social media. And if that older woman over there can do it, boy, you guys can do it too. And I was like, thanks so much, appreciate it. Yeah, right. So now I'm known as the older lady who does social media, right? So.
What? Don't preface it with older.
That's what they say.
Young.
Thank you. Yes, I'm out there. I'm out there, but staying young. So I know you have a family, and you mentioned your wife, and you have 2 little boys.
2 little boys.
So how old are they?
So 10. So Jeremiah, my older boy, is
Okay.
10, and then Joshua 8 months.
Yeah, he's a baby. I
Yeah.
saw a picture.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. It is. It wasn't intentional waiting that long. I promise. I practiced. I did
Right.
all the right things.
Yeah.
So,
Got it. Got it.
got it. But it worked out.
Can I
that
tell
way.
you a funny story?
Yeah.
My son and my daughter are 10 years apart.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, how is it? Now, I'm thinking now, right now it's beautiful. So
Okay. My older
big brother
son, my
loves little brother.
son, which my daughter will say he's my favorite because he was the first and he had all the privileges of being the first child, but he also had all the issues about they got to do everything. We have to do everything right with them. We're a little bit of a helicopter
Right.
parent,
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
all
yeah,
that
yes,
stuff.
yes,
And then
yes,
this
yes.
baby comes
Right.
along and it's like, what am I doing with this? You know, so it was like we had two separate families, but he was so helpful.
Okay. Yeah.
Because of the way he was. I mean, he was like an old soul to begin with. And now they love each other to death. They tease each other like they did when they were kids. So,
love
but
that. I'm hopeful.
my daughter adores my son. I mean, she looks up to her bigger brother, and they're that 10 years apart. But it is it's fun to be around them nowadays as adults
Sure.
because they revert right back to Kelsey. You got to do everything. I never got to do anything, and she's like, "Oh, you're the favorite," and yeah. So we go through that, yeah. So you'll have that to look forward to. But
Okay.
isn't it amazing
Yeah.
to have that age difference and go, "Oh my gosh!" But it's fun too.
Right. So at first we're like, my gosh, we got to do this all over again. It
Yeah.
was, you know.
Yeah, it was
and-
scary.
And from the beginning, believe it or not, our Jeremiah, older boy, was pretty self-sufficient, like early, like
Yeah.
independent.
Yeah,
like,
that's how my son Nicholas. Yeah.
and so we're like, got to do this all over again. But Josh was becoming the same way. Right.
Don't kid yourself.
easy.
Don't kid yourself.
I know.
You're wishful thinking.
Right. You know.
He's the baby.
And
Watch
but
what happens.
What's interesting though too about this is so Jeremiah, before Joshua was born,
Right.
before my wife was even pregnant, he would out of nowhere just say, "I don't want a little brother or sister." He would
Well, why would
vocal.
he? Why would he?
Yeah, and I also think like kids in his classroom were probably
Right.
talking like horror stories.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I still can picture it. When he walks into the hospital, Jeremiah walks into the hospital room and sees his brother for the first time. I just see
Yeah,
just
it was-
happen. It's like his heart opened up almost, and from that point, I mean, he adores his little brother.
He does, and Nicholas did Kelsey as well, and but don't think that as perfect as Jeremiah was,
Yeah.
that's how your little one will be because you do things everything
hopeful.
different,
Right,
everything
right.
different.
Sure.
Trust me.
Yeah.
The baby of the family. I mean, my daughter is spoiled rotten to this day, and to this day, she's in her 30s, and she says that she's still my dependent for life. She refuses. I mean, she's married with her own kids and everything
Sure.
else, but
Is that right?
she's spoiled brat. That's what she is. I love her to death. Love you, Kels. But yeah, but they were totally different children because of the way I raised them. I think
Sure.
we were better off when I had her. There, all these
Right.
things were happening.
Right.
So
Right.
love them both with every piece of my heart, but definitely two different children. My daughter is the one that makes me laugh all the time.
Is that right?
Okay, so
I love it.
So
Yeah. That's
family,
a little bit about
family,
us. Married
family.
12 years. Just celebrated 12
That's
years. married.
wonderful.
We got married
38.
at 8, so yeah,
38.
38. Really? You got married at 5 years old?
I
What?
did.
Yeah,
See
so
now why they
special.
call me the old lady with social media.
I love that. 38
So
is
last thing I'll ask you,
Yeah.
if you were going to tell anybody out there in Marion County and
Yeah.
Citrus, whatever, why use you? What makes you different?
You know, use whoever you want, honestly. My hope is that folks, when they interact with me, they recognize that I'm not just a guy for a transaction. And if that's what you want, then
There's a lot of 'em, right.
I'm not the right one for you, honestly, because I want to go beyond that. And so that's going to be the difference. And
Okay.
you're going to have someone for life in all transitions. And that's what I'm hope that I can become for people.
And
in all transitions. of
Yeah,
life.
and I would absolutely, just a little bit of time I've gotten to know you, I would absolutely agree with you that would be the right reason.
Yeah.
And I do believe that. I believe you talk from your heart on that. And any special hobbies? And I did forget to ask you, are you
Yeah.
from Ocala?
I've been here long enough, Debbie.
Okay.
I've been here 18 years.
18,
So
okay.
I moved here when I was 14 years old
Okay.
from New York City.
Oh, wow.
So longer here than New
Okay,
York,
okay.
So.
Oh, okay, now you're talking about your age in front of me again? Okay, great. That's really nice, Ricardo. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
social awareness, I guess.
So you consider Ocala pretty much where you're, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Any hobbies? Are you a horse person or anything?
You know, I'm still trying to discover what that is.
Okay.
What that hobby is. I'm not really a horse person. In fact,
Maybe it's
I
just
am a
people.
little petrified. Yeah, yeah. I love. So I'm still involved, like at the local
And tight
ministry
pants.
level.
Just
And tight
what?
pants. Yeah.
And
And
tight pants.
I sew them myself. Yeah. So I want them to look like they're painted on.
Well, I think you look very good, and I just want to really thank you so much,
Yeah.
you know, for coming in, talking to me, taking the time out of your busy day,
Yeah.
and I would highly recommend you guys give Ricardo a call. You want to give him your information so we can post it on there?
Yeah, so I mean, ultimately, just follow me on social media. I'd love to interact and engage through those platforms: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, even.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ricardo Zelaya. I mean, there's not many Ricardo Zelayas apparently. So
Do you want to give your phone number out or no?
yeah, I can.
Yeah, do it.
352. Write it down. 352-704-0324 is my number.
Use them, give them a shot. I think you'll be really happy. Thanks, guys.